Weaponmaster is here, and I really haven't seen anyone talk about Guardian and the other weapons that they're able to use, which is surprising to me because Guardian is a very popular class, and I see more people talking about Engineer and Weaponmaster than I see Guardian, so that was kind of weird to me, but never fear, your boy Spudzie is here to talk about Weaponmaster on the Guardian and how I feel about it, and just in general how it fares in the overall game. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and get right into it. Starting us off is the Longbow. I feel like Willbender with the Longbow actually is kind of fun. I don't see it being meta at all with roaming. Maybe for Zerging it could be okay, but honestly Dragon Hunter is still probably just better because there's more damaging traits and their virtues probably work better on their pole and their traps. Probably not optimal, but I will say that it does create this kind of playstyle on Willbender that we haven't seen before, where enemies can't outrun you because of your Longbow 2 snipes. So like, it's not like they were outrunning you already, you have so many teleports and dashes, but if they are trying to do that little cheeky strat where like they're jumping on top of terrain so your shadow steps don't work, you do have a Longbow 2 which will surprise them. I tell you, I got a few kills that just surprised my opponents because they were not expecting a 8,000 crit to their face while they're out of range, so that was pretty nice. Overall, I think it's a good range damage option, and when you mix it with mobility, it's just a fun play style if you enjoy that, so play it if you want. Probably not meta, but hey. A quick mention I will say, because I'm not going to be talking about Firebrand for this, don't run Longbow and Firebrand, just don't do that. Core Guard actually can run Longbow with 3 trait lines, with one of the trait lines being Zeal, which will increase their damage a ton. And you actually do more raw damage than Dragon Hunter with a Longbow by running these 3 trait lines. Now I wouldn't do this for Zerging because you don't really have much on terms of Core Guardian when you're running a Longbow, but for Zerging or PvE, definitely run that. It's way better than roaming. I tried it out. It was a lot more fun, although I do think that traps on Dragon Hunter are more fun and the F1's a lot more fun. But if you're someone who just wants to pump out raw damage and you like the Zeal trait line, then Core Guardian with Longbow actually is not that bad. Moving on to the Axe. Axe Willbender. Now I feel like Axe Willbender is really cool. It's a great replacement for a main hand sword. Like, yeah, you lose a teleport, but you gain crowd control in the form of a pull. Axe 3 actually sets up really nicely with Sword 4 or Virtue 1 and Whirling Lights. All your damage options are there, and after a nice Axe 3 pull, you have those damage options right there waiting for you, very easy to hit, and they just do tons of damage because Willbender's spec that pumps. The auto attacks on the Axe are also really good damage too, and they have a bit of range, so I would rank that a little bit higher than Sword in that regard, although you do lose the shadow step. So a nice thing to note is that the Axe actually works really well with Celestial builds, probably works better than main hand sword, and also works with power builds as well, which is what I was running. Axe in general just feels good with mobility. It's just nice having an extra ability on the Willbender that opponents have to dodge, because Sword 3 really isn't anything crazy to gawk at. Whereas Axe 3, you have to dodge this or else you're gonna get CC'd, and you're either gonna have to waste a stun break or you're gonna take a Sword 4 or Virtue 1 right to the face. Now for Dragon Hunter, I feel like main hand Axe isn't as cool. You don't have as much mobility, so it doesn't feel as good. I guess the pull is nice for pulling people into your traps, but it isn't perfect. Like, the range isn't really that good. You already have a pull, so having 2 of them is kind of redundant, but it is fun. I will say, being able to pull people backwards twice right into your traps, that is cool, but sometimes I feel like the pull just wasn't good enough. It pulled them like a little bit close to the trap, but not quite, and then they wouldn't stay in, obviously. So in general, I would say that Axe on Dragon Hunter isn't really meta. It's a lot worse than Willbender, but it is fun, so try it out if you like. Now for Offhand Sword, this is where things get really cool because I actually love Offhand Sword on both specs that can run it now. So on Dragon Hunter, it feels so fun to play. I ran dual swords, main hand and offhand, and you're able to just teleport onto targets like you're a ninja, attach the fiery chain to them, which you can later use to pull them back into melee range or onto traps. This playstyle, oh my gosh, it is so much fun. Shadow stepping on someone, attaching a chain, and then, you know, you back up, you retreat, or you stay on them. They try and run away, you yank them back into a sword 4 or into your traps. They're slow, they're in melee range. It just feels so good. It's a really fun archetype and playstyle with your traps thanks to your pull. Not to mention your sword 5 makes your chain F1 really easy to hit. It's like super reliable. If you hit a sword 5, you're pretty much guaranteed an F1, so very nice and consistent playstyle. Being able to pull them back into the trap sword 4 feels so good. If you guys haven't played this yet, I'd recommend it. I enjoyed myself a lot on it. Now on Firebrand, I think it's pretty cool. I mean, you have a lot of crowd control when paired with the axe. So by using a main hand axe, offhand sword, you have axe 3 as the pull, sword 5 for the immobilize, and then justice tome 3 for the little knockdown. Now I think with Celestial, this actually works pretty nice. You have a wide range of fire, condis, and power damage to work with here. I wouldn't say it's meta, but I did enjoy myself on it. I think Firebrand players will enjoy this because just having multiple opponents or one opponent locked down for such a long time, burning them, attacking them, it's not bad, you know. It's a pretty cool playstyle. It's interesting. I definitely like it more on Dragon Hunter, but you know, maybe I'm just not a Firebrand kind of guy. But it is an option if you want to use that. Then I will say for Core Guardian, offhand sword, I mean, like just run Willbender. Like honestly, guys, if you can even run offhand sword, then you have Willbender, you have it unlocked, you have Dragon Hunter unlocked. Just run one of those. It's so much better, and having the Virtue 1 that does damage, actually does like burst damage, chunk damage, is so much better than having like a burning Condi on F1, because burning's only one Condi. You can't really cover it unless you're playing for it. And that with offhand sword just doesn't feel good, so don't run Core Guard with it. I wouldn't recommend it. And that's about it. So overall, I would say that Weaponmaster on the Guardian comes out to be pretty fun. I don't think it's as impactful on the meta as it was on Revenant, but I do think it was a lot more fun and more impactful than a class like Warrior. I think it's right there in the middle. I don't think anything on here is really just meta defining. It breaks the meta or anything like that. But I will say that every option that I had was fun. Like more often than not, I found myself having a lot of fun with Weaponmaster on the Guardian, so I think that kind of just tops everything else. Like for me personally, I'm more of a fun over meta guy, so if you like Guardian, you're going to love Weaponmaster on it because there's just so much more that you can do now with the specs. You have a lot of mobility, you have nice ranged options, you have extra CC on the main hand. There's just so much you can do with Guardian now, Weaponmaster, that it's just a lot of fun. Definitely experiment with it if you haven't already. What do you think of Weaponmaster on the Guardian? Do you like it? Is it fun? Comment all of that and more down below. I look forward to rating them as always, and I'm excited to bring to you the next Weaponmaster video. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.